want to say to my African American brothers and sisters is that the vaccine that you're going to be taking was developed by an African American woman. And that is just a fact. I mean, that is a fact. And I think that's some of the things that people don't fully appreciate.
Good morning, guys. It's Miss Coconut. How are you doing? I'm doing well. So they are rolling out this vaccine in the United States of America. And who is the first person, you ask? Why, it's none other than Lucy, right? Yes. The Eve gene is live and effect in this place, y'all. We are talking mitochondrial DNA here. Woo, okay, let's get into this. So we see that Fauci is telling us that we are all brothers and sisters, amen. And we are all supposed to be really happy that the vaccine is or has been engineered by African American woman. So that makes it all okay for you to take it, because a sister would never lie to you, as if ever since the beginning of time, and especially slavery, they didn't pit us against each other, okay? That's when you would have the field versus the house slaves. So, and this is not the first time a black woman has been used to perpetuate harm and terror upon her own people, okay? Let's think about the Tuskegee experiment. That is when the government decided they wanted to do medical experiments on the public unaware, okay? And they had this African-American nurse that would go out and administer these vaccinations under the guise of helping, when she was really introducing the syphilis germ to them. And so that's a very famous experiment that went wrong. Y'all should look that up if you're not aware of that occurring. So as I've said plenty of times, our government, many governments all around the world, are very implicit in the destruction of its people. Anytime the ruling class decides to tamper with a species, they need the mother host, okay? So Cuomo said the Jewish hospital center where this nurse is taking the first vaccine is in Queens. Good things come from Queens. Well, why, yes, it does. Because you need the Queen Mother in order to affect change. And as we see here, there are 3 people pictured in this photo. You see 2 people on the sides, on either side of the test subject. And she's a nurse as well. The lady that took the vaccine, she's a nurse, and you see her in the middle sitting down. And so the 2 people on either side are the columns of the occult world of the Masonic temples. And as you can observe, all 3 of them have their hands folded in very Masonic symbolic ways. So this is a gateway they're showing us. The number 3 is the Trinity, okay? So they're always showing us in picture form what they are really doing. What are they telling us? They're putting the queen on the throne because they know that is how you tamper with the DNA, because mitochondrial DNA is stored in the woman. And they trace this all the way back to Lucy, who was the first woman that gave birth to civilization. Whenever I'm reading cards, right, which is called cartomancy, and the number 3 pop up, I always know that something is being inserted into a union, okay? Because 1 is individuality, 2 is a union or a couple, and then 3 is something foreign or something outside of the union being introduced. For example, a couple having a baby makes them a trinity, okay? Or a couple having an affair makes them a trinity, whether you like it or not. So the number 3 is very, very symbolic here, because they are telling us in code that they are introducing something into the mother's DNA to help change the course of human history. No one can persuade me from thinking that this isn't Terminator, that this isn't the war between humankind and mankind being waged, okay? And no one can tell me that with this nanotechnology, they are not altering. Now, I've read, there's this guy on Instagram. I'm going to show his username. He's really smart, and I love to read his posts. Not that I always understand them, but he's telling us that we are pushing disinformation by telling people they are altering DNA with the COVID vaccine. He's saying that isn't true because actually it's not penetrating the nucleus so that it technically cannot alter it. But that doesn't mean that they won't be introducing strands of the vaccine that will be able to alter the DNA. That is the whole purpose of them using the nanotechnology, in my opinion. The thing about mitochondrial DNA is that it's a marker, okay? It is carried exclusively by the woman, and it is passed down generations, and that is how your ancestry is determined. So no one can't tell me that they are tampering with the markers within the body because they are trying to separate a certain type of species on this earth. And it has nothing to do with race. I know y'all want it to be about race, but it is not. In all of the ancient writings, there is a story about the sons of God coming down and mating with the daughters of earth, okay? And well, however you take this story, just understand at some point, some foreign substance, some alien-like substance was introduced into the into mankind that was here, and it changed the DNA of the creature that was here on earth, okay? And they have been doing gene splicing, gene therapy, and gene manipulation since the beginning of time. And they continue to do so. And their chosen vehicle has always been the original woman of the earth. In my tinfoil tiara mind, I feel like the reason why they spend so much time on a particular type of subject is because only certain types of bodies can host these entities, okay? And that's why a lot of people can't get pregnant or can't stay pregnant or can't bring a pregnancy to fruition. Just like in the case of the women that have the Rh negative factor blood, they have a lot of problems. And so I feel like they spend a lot of energy and time on gene DNA because they're trying to mark and isolate the subjects on earth that can actually host their entities. Does that make sense? They want to figure out which group of people on earth and can carry these babies to term. That's what I'm thinking. That is what I'm thinking. So besides the whole War of the Worlds concept that I have going on, I also think there's a more diabolical reason why they spend a lot of times on Ancestry.com, which I never did because I was never fooled, child. I mean, I think in the end, there's really not much we could do about it because the powers that be are not physical beings. So, you know, as I always say, live your best life. Don't get too caught up in none of what we're talking about. So anyway, y'all, that's my time for today. As always, I'm going to leave in my description box all of the ways you can contact me. You know, the other day I was seeing a lot of information come across on spiritual teachers and people being frauds and fakes and et cetera, and et cetera. And one thing I got really away from was offering readings to people. It's such a big energy drain, and I just wasn't feeling like, you know, I just wasn't getting any joy anymore from doing them. And I just felt like people really should learn how to read for themselves in most cases, okay? Most cases, you don't need divination, in my opinion. Like an everyday read, you should learn how to do that. And so I really don't offer readings anymore. I do offer consultations if someone needs to know different answers or need help with something, if you just, are new to the occult world, I will definitely assist with that. And I don't have a problem with tools. I just say you should learn how to make your own, because your magic is going to always be the most potent, believe it or not. Okay, so, I'm going to say in my description box also are the links to my daughter's channel. She talks about manifestation. And then both of my daughters do have a website you can browse and shop from. And I have a website as well. I'm enjoying making these videos. Shout out to one of my Facebook friends that actually sent me the picture of the nurse getting the vaccine. I didn't look at the video, so I did notice, though, that the nurse administering the vaccine did have her gloves on. I don't know if the cap was off or what was in the needle, but hey, it is what it is. Anyway, I think I was about to say, I'm enjoying these videos. Thank y'all so much for listening to me. As always, Om Shri Brezi.